Welcome back. It's Black and White and we're talking about marriage and how to make it work. I'm not an expert, but in studio we do have experts on the subject and they've been giving us very insightful notions about how to make it work, and we are on the subject of submission, a word that not many women in modern society want to hear, but of course they as religion prescribes and as my panelists have said, it's quite important, but they're explaining that there is a balance to be had. I'd like Johnston take on that.
Thank you so much. Let me pose a question.
Yes.
When is a train more freer? When it is on the rails.
Yes.
But when it goes off track, that is the end of the journey. So a woman is fulfilling her purpose in marriage when she is on the track and when she is submissive. So when you lose submission, you are off track and you are done completely. That's why we have this feminist movement. Because they feel like the men are sitting on us, as they say. And they say, no, I need my space. Now, you wonder, what space? And let me read a verse from my book.
Okay.
I have a new book called Heaven on Earth Marriage.
Yes.
Page 43.
Yes.
Ephesians 5:22, King James says, wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands as unto the Lord.
Yes.
Whew. That's a 12 mandate, right?
Yes.
As unto the Lord.
Unto the Lord.
Now that is it is not serious. It is very serious.
But she pointed out before that it says you should submit to one another.
To one another also,
And during the break I was pointing out, even after that verse, it says the husband, while the wife is submitting, the husband should love the wife as Christ loved the church. So there's a balance.
Absolutely. There's divine balance.
Yes.
And let me define submission. Submission is the divine calling of a wife to honor and affirm her husband's leadership and help carry it through according to our gifts.
Yes.
For example, the husband makes a decision and comes and informs the wife about the decision. Maybe it's a business decision. And then the wife is not at peace with the decision. And the wife will not, back at the husband asking, how come you did that? You didn't tell me. No, she'll do it in a very submissive manner. She will say, for example, and you know what? I thank you're doing something for us, and thank you for making that decision. But I feel we could talk more about it. That is submission. Now, when you talk like that, the man will listen.
Also a bit of wisdom, I think.
Wisdom. You are submissive. And that does not mean that, in a family setting, there's the man, he's the head. He leads. And there are no followers. I mean, you just submit.
You sound so harsh with this one, though. Submit, submit, submit. But then we are living in a society where we have a woman that's making money, a woman that is modern, they are empowered. They might not necessarily be living in the kind of life that would have them coil at the sound of their husband's voice. So just take the realistic setup in the home. How should this actually come out?
Currently, I've heard of something they're calling Miss Independent.
Yes.
I don't know what that is. I don't know. And
a woman who can stand on her own.
On her own. Like you got your own money. And you feel that you can, you don't need a man. You have your own money, you have your house, you have your car. So you're like, what a man for? I'm telling you, if you say that, there will be a vacuum in your life.
Okay.
Now, and this is where most women go wrong. When they say, they take their jobs and their money as idols.
Okay.
And they put them before their men. Now, when a woman leaves the way of submission, she loses her beauty. You can be the president of a nation and your husband is just another hustler. And when you go home, you are very submissive. You honor the man. You honor the man and you affirm the leadership of that man in that home.
Right.
My husband has come. He is the king here.
Yeah,
So
well,
you know the office.
yeah.
This is the office I hold. I'm a CEO in this place.
Yes.
But my husband may be a businessman, and I could be bringing in more money to the table.
Yes.
But now, when I get to the house, I leave the office and I become the wife
The
in that
wife,
home. And one of the key things about marriage is that there has to be mutual respect for one another. Even in terms of how do you speak to one another? What's your
Yeah.
attitude? What's the tone of voice you use to one another
Yeah.
and with one another? So that becomes easier to submit. But equally,
Yeah.
as much as we're saying wife submit,
Yeah.
the husband has a role in also helping this wife submit to him.
Sure.
Because how do you treat this wife? Are you always like talking down on them?
Are you a
know?
tyrant?
Yeah,
Nobody's
you're a
going to
tyrant.
submit to you if
I
you're,
mean,
like,
it becomes
tyrannical.
hard. It becomes hard. Why we have uprisings that we read about in history is because there was oppression. And so people, you know,
Had
Yeah.
to come up and be strong and assert themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah, because they're moving against a force that was pushing them down.
That's true.
And that brings me back, I would imagine, to the issue that you brought up earlier. You have to be friends.
Yeah.
Because if my friend had no lunch,
Yeah.
I wouldn't look down on them because
Yeah.
they're my friend.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I love them anyway.
Yeah.
But then if they're not my friend, if I don't
Yeah.
respect them, then I
Yeah.
guess I would,
Yeah.
not treat them fairly.
And friendship also helps you in a place, for example, because as we talk about how marriage works, a key thing that leads to divorce
Right.
and a major factor is infidelity and adultery in marriage. But when you're friends, you can say, I was walking in town, I saw
Yes.
this chick, man,
Yeah.
and she was looking like this, and you're telling your spouse.
your spouse.
So you must have created an environment
yeah.
in your marriage where you can be able to freely talk about this. Because the more you keep it to yourself, the more the enemy takes advantage of that. And it becomes a loophole, and it becomes very easy to fall into adultery.
Basically a safe space.
Safe
Yeah,
space
yeah.
with your spouse. Yeah.
Now, your take on that? Having a safe space of friendship in marriage.
In marriage, marriage is not a competition. You are not competing. You complement each other. That's why God formed the woman for the man as a helper. You see, you submit one to another.
Right.
You have mutual respect. You honor each other. The woman is affirming the leadership of the man. The man loves the woman, and the woman respects the man. The Bible says, husbands, love your wives. And women have a role to respect their husbands. Actually, a woman understands love language. That's a language.
Yes.
A man understands respect. That is his language. And once you do that, there will be submission. And submission is not forced. It is not, you don't coerce someone to submit. Submission is willful.
It should come naturally.
You are willful. You just submit willingly.
Right.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And now, while we're on the topic, I'd like us to be realistic.
Okay.
In real life, and you conduct a lot of counseling sessions for couples.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'd attest to this, that it's not always the typical early 20s somebody who met somebody else in the same age group. There are people who have age differences. There are people who have kids, or
Yeah.
they on each side, and they're coming in as a blended family. So how is that dynamic supposed to be approached in the best way to make it successful?
Of course, when a blended family is coming together for different reasons,
Yeah.
maybe one has been widowed, one is a
Right,
widower,
divorced.
or divorced or separated, or they were single parents.
Yes.
And they got a number of children before wedlock, but now they've found this guy who's willing to marry, or they have found this lady who's willing to take in their children and be the mother, the matriarch in that home. I find one of the greatest things to do is to come in mutual understanding that we are coming together. It will not be as smooth. And some of the blended families will tell you they have had their hitches here and there, but let's respect one another. We must work towards if you take me with my children,
Right.
I come as a package. If you love me, I come as a package, and I come with my children, and you must accept us the way we are. That means even how you talk to us, despite how at times some of the blended families, some children can get a bit rebellious or can go a bit wayward, but still, this is your child. Now, this is your son, this is your daughter. In the best way possible, love us as we are, because I'm a package and I come with this. So love, mutual respect, that understanding that it is work. It is, I won't say it's twice the work of people who got married as singles. It could be even 3 times the work. But it is doable, and we have seen blended families that have worked. Maybe people who are single parents, they have come together, or widows and widowers who have come together, and the marriage is working because they have purpose to work towards it. Half the time, when they're coming together, it's normally the child or the children who have connected the parents together, because maybe this guy met this child running around. It sounds like a Hollywood movie, though, but follows them. I know, but that does happen.
And it can work. What's your take on how to make blended families come together successfully?
I am one success story.
Oh, really?
Yeah, sure.
Tell us more.
Yeah,
from
actually,
your personal...
when I met my wife at our workplace. And when I met her and loved her, the first thing she told me is that I have a girl who by that time was 1 year and some months plus.
Yes.
And because I loved her, I didn't mind the girl. I mean, I didn't mind the girl. I said, yeah, I love you the way you are.
Oh, wow.
And she told me, thank you for loving me the way I am. Love. I mean love, unconditional. You know, I love like God.
Okay.
I love too much because God does not have love. He is love.
Yeah, he is love.
I operate like God. I have love. I love people. I can only love people.
Okay.
And you know, she's my daughter. And she's my wife. And we now have a son, 3 months old. And we are doing very well. There is no difference whatsoever.
Right.
Hallelujah. Yes. And I'm the man loving like Christ.
Yes.
No conditions, nothing. I can only love.
And this is how it should be.
This is how it should be in your family, by the way. If it's something else in other families, I can't understand.
Absolutely. Now, what I'm getting is that you really need to have a strong foundation before you get into all this, because now that will lead into the marriage. But now you've set a good foundation, you've gone for the counseling, you've read the book that is called Heaven on Earth Marriage, and you're on this right track, but then you encounter hardships during the marriage. Conflict resolution is something that is important. A lot of couples get into fights, a lot of them go on cold shoulder. I mean, there are a lot of
Knee by mouth.
Yes. Now, tell me what you advise couples, how they should approach instances where their ideas are not, they're not, or maybe they're not feeling equally yoked, or their ideas are not going in the right place, or there's just anything that came about that brought about conflicts. How do you address it?
I like your analogy of the foundation. When you look at where this building is, they must have really gone down deep down to build a strong foundation to sustain a big and huge structure like this. And it is the same with our lives and with marriage, that the foundation must be right. And it's good we have said that. And there are different pillars of marriage that help the marriages to stand. Or, of course, we've talked about there must be good communication. There must be commitment. I mean, if you're not committed, no wonder these days you hear people have woken up and they have packed their bags and gone. Why? Because I don't feel like getting married to you anymore. I'm out of this place. And you're thinking, commitment. You're in this for the long haul, you know. So you've put up your pillars and you're building your house. But in case you hit a hurdle ahead of you, one of the things, and I'm very convinced, I'm planning to do this perhaps on my PhD, a study on this. One of the greatest causes of separation and divorce in marriages, I'm very convinced, is pride. Is pride. When you narrow down everything else, because pride makes you feel but who are you?
Yes.
Why have you done this to me? But I'm the one who is wronged. And then you start walking in issues of unforgiveness.
Okay,
You become resentful. And
Bitter.
you become bitter and angry and all those things. And when you hear that there is the last straw that broke the camel's back, can you imagine how a camel is?
Yeah.
And how many straws it can carry? But there's this little
last
thing.
one, yeah.
And normally because
The small foxes.
the small foxes, because you
Yes.
have piled up resentment over the years, over someone does this, and you just pile it up. You're not talking because your communication channels are down.
Yeah.
You're not able to talk to your spouse. You're not able to open, because there has to be an openness. As we say, that safe environment.
Yes.
We can come and say, you know what? You hurt me. What you said wounded me.
Yes.
I felt demeaned by what you said. But just coming to that place of, can you also
Communication.
decide to walk in forgiveness?
Uh-huh.
And forgiveness is key. I must admit, forgiveness is key. There are people, if you have been hurt, personally, one of the things we do, the good old book says, do not let the sun go down in your anger.
Yes.
And that becomes a very good principle in
Yes.
relationships, because then if this person annoyed me,
Yeah.
I should work at my issues, and by that end of day,
Yeah,
we
I
have
should
resolved the
resolve
issue.
this particular issue
If
now.
you don't, it piles up
Yeah.
into resentment,
And
into
festers.
anger, that festers, becomes a cancer in the marriage, and eventually we will wonder, they looked okay,
Yeah.
but they are no longer
somebody
together.
left because somebody
Yeah.
didn't do the dishes,
Yeah.
but then the many other
Yeah.
issues that were
Or even
behind
they
that.
press Colgate the wrong side,
Yes,
you
and
know,
then you're like,
toothpaste.
no, I'm done. I'm
Yeah,
done.
like-
Johnston, as we conclude, please give us your take on how to handle conflicts in marriage as we wind up this, just briefly. Yeah.
Colossians 3:13, forbearing one another and forgiving one another. If any man have a quarrel against any, even as Christ forgave you, so also do ye. Forgive
Yeah.
and forgive. And having forgiven, forgive.
Give again.
Yeah. 70 times 7.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, we should always be forgiving, because we should, when you walk in love, you cannot walk in unforgiveness.
Okay.
So there will be conflicts, and there are many conflicts can be triggered by many. There are many triggers to conflicts.
Because you're humans, yeah.
Yeah, it can be intellectual, spiritual. It can be in-law stuff.
Yeah.
It can be money, how to handle finances.
Finances,
It can be, and out of that, someone becomes bitter, and some of the things that made people divorce, if they are they were to have another chance
Yes.
to look at why they divorced, they would
They would
make
regret
up.
it because perhaps it wasn't that serious and
Yeah.
there were
It wa-
ways
I mean,
of dealing
yeah.
with it.
Yeah.
Now we've run out of time, unfortunately. This is a very juicy topic, but
I know.
unfortunately we
It's
don't
okay.
have enough time to do that. And I have to wrap this up. Thank you so
Thank
much for your
you.
sentiments coming to us online. And of course, thank you to my panelists for your very